It uses a 6.2 liter V8 making 460 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. It'll get to 60 miles an hour in 3.7 seconds and has the aerodynamics to cut through the air at its top speed of 186 miles per hour. It has the looks of a real exotic and the refinement of a daily cruiser, but with the twist of a knob it becomes an incredible track toy. It has a performance data recorder, or PDR, that records and gives you overlays to really capitalize on the track. The coupe has a removable roof that easily fits in the large trunk so you can enjoy your cruise back home from the track. You can order it with an 8-speed automatic or 7-speed manual, just having that option is becoming harder to find. This is the 2015 Corvette C7 Stingray Z51. Finally, an excuse-free American sports car us American enthusiasts can be proud of. Okay, before I go any further in this review, I just want to say of the two transmission options, this one is the 8-speed automatic. Now before all you gearheads go crazy and go, no, that's the wrong transmission, I want to just say it's a preference thing, and I'll just say this anyway. I've driven a few manual transmission cars. I love manual transmissions. I think they're a lot of fun, and that's how you get maximum involvement with the car. My Subaru BRZ I daily drive manual transmission. Cars like that, the FRS, the Mustang, the those kind of budget sports cars, those have to be manual transmissions. They just do. And I also drove my Lotus, or my neighbor's Lotus Evora S, not my Lotus, and that has a 6-speed manual transmission, and I wouldn't want that car any other way. They offer an automatic paddle shift. That's not the transmission for a Lotus, it's not the transmission for a lot of cars. Now, this is where a lot of people are gonna go insane. Automatic transmission, paddle shift transmissions, I'm actually okay with on the new Ferraris, the new Lamborghinis, the ones that shift lightning fast, literally faster than the blink of an eye. I want that to be a paddle shift automatic, because I would love to bring it to a track and go for performance, and obviously you're gonna have fun. People will argue saying, but you'll have more fun with the manual. Well, maybe, I don't know. What I'm getting at here is each car, I could usually pretty quickly say, okay, manual or automatic, I know what I want with it. The Corvette's kind of weird. This C7 in particular, I really don't know what transmission I would order. This isn't mine, this is my dad's, and we didn't spec this out. We just found it at a dealer and it just came with the automatic, okay? But if I were to spec it out, I'm not saying that I would go with the manual so assertively. I mean, this is the 8-speed automatic transmission. It is so refined, and it has open throttle shifts that are so incredibly fast without using a dual clutch transmission. It really does rival the dual clutch PDK system. I mean, I'm gonna set off a real storm in the comment section probably, but it just does. It works really, really well. And when you're not on it, the transmission is just so refined, it shifts so smooth, and it's great. And also my dad's gonna be using this as a daily driver, not so much a Sunday cruiser. And of course, here's the thing, I really don't want to say something bad about a transmission or a car when I haven't driven it. I have not driven the 7-speed manual for this car, but that just sounds odd to me. 7-speed manual, that's just a bit awkward for me. But again, I have to drive it. If it was a 6-speed manual, just like the C6, yeah, the C6, then I would consider it a bit closer. But it's a 7-speed. I feel like I would go for 7th gear each time I wanted 5th. Everyone who drove the C7 with the 7-speed manual says that, and they say they get used to it in a couple of hours. I'm sure that's the same case for me. I'm just saying 7-speed is a bit weird. So this is the 8-speed. It works really, really well. So again, people are gonna think what they want to think. They're gonna have their own minds. Transmission is a preference thing. It's the kind of drive you want. I really do like this Corvette in both transmissions, even though I haven't driven the manual. So I got a lot of crap on my video where we surprised my dad with this car. Just look at the comment section of that video. Oh my goodness. People are just having a horrible time dealing with the fact that it is a automatic. So again, guys, to each their own. If you want a manual Corvette, I suggest you get one. Other than that, just know that both transmissions work. Okay, now that the dreaded talk about the automatic transmission is out of the way, hopefully that'll slow down the amount of hate comments I'll get on the transmission. But with that said, let's get to the other positive aspects of this car. This car, as you guys may know, has 5 drive modes. It has weather, Eco with the cylinder deactivation on Eco to bring the V8 to a 4-cylinder. It's got Touring, which is the mode that most Corvettes are in when you see them. It's got Sport, which is also another popular mode that a lot of Corvettes will be in, which just makes like the throttle response a bit different, and it opens the valves significantly at idle in Sport mode. And then you have Track mode, which makes the Sport look like Eco. I mean, it is that dramatic. I didn't think Track and Sport were that big of a difference. It is huge. So from what I could notice with Track is the suspension, which is what I'm in right now. The suspension is really stiff. Every bump, it's not too stiff though, but it is race stiff, okay? So you feel every bump, you rock a bit more. The steering is incredibly stiff. So this is a electronically assisted steering wheel. You heard me in one of my last videos say that this electronically steering is a bit too assisted, it's a bit too easy. Put it in Track mode and oh my gosh, it really, you have to tug this thing. So stiffens that up, definitely opens up the valves to its least restrictive mode, and the throttle response is where it's most effective on the track. So this car, going into and coming out of corners, it feels very, very confident. I wish I drove the C6 so I could really compare it to the C7. I haven't driven the C6, I have rode in it before. All I remember from the C6, because I rode in it about 4 or 5 years ago, is it had crap your pants kind of speed in a straight line, and I don't remember what I thought about the cornering, because really it was just on a public road, so we didn't do anything. But I just, all you hear about the C7 is it's leaps and bounds better than the C6 in every aspect, especially cornering. Now, I could see why, even though I never driven the C6. Coming into corners, staying in these long bends, even the sharp corners, it's very predictable. You just feel, especially in Track mode with this stiff steering. So about the drive, like I said, Track mode, like I'm in right now, is stiff, and you just know you're in Track mode. Like I said before, it makes Sport seem like Touring. But here, this is the most dramatic two-face kind of car as far as what it's able to do in Track mode. And then with just a couple twists here, we go into Touring. And all of a sudden, the steering is just so easy. The suspension, it feels like you're on glass water. It is just so smooth. It feels like a sporty Mercedes, like a SLK or whatever. It's just so comfortable, and so now I don't care about the steering being too easy because it doesn't have to be too stiff. I'm in Touring, so I'm over that. I'm over the whole it's too easy steering, but because it just works in Touring, and then you put it in Track and it's really, really stiff. This car in Touring mode, I just want to drive it every day. If you saw my Lotus review, you heard me say I want to drive that Lotus every day on a fun road, not to go to the grocery store or go to work or whatever. I am 100% cool with driving this car everywhere. I mean, even if I'm going to go to the grocery store, it's got a huge, huge compartment in the back that could even store the roof and everything like that. So this car is incredibly practical, getting 29 miles to the gallon highway. It is incredibly practical with all its luggage space. It has like a little screen that'll come down here, which you guys probably seen in other reviews. It's got luggage space, it's got this removable roof. It's so practical, it's so comfortable. And then again, you just bring it back 2 switches to the right, you're in Track mode. And then this, you just feel will do, it'll just put a huge smile on your face around a track without a doubt. It won't cease to amaze you, that's for sure. So just the fact that GM or Corvette was able to, just listen to this. Like I was saying, just the fact that GM was able to make that much of a dramatic two-face car with just a switch of a knob is something that we can very much so, you know, respect because it just works really, really well. Okay, and just to talk about the power on this car, 460 horsepower. And again, just like with the Lotus review, I'm not too qualified to give you my impressions on the power because I haven't driven enough powerful cars. In fact, the Lotus was the most exotic car I've driven, the most expensive car I've driven, while this one is the most powerful car I've driven at 460 horsepower. Now, just between those two cars, I'm proud I'm able to do that at a young age. But again, I want to say 460 horsepower is so much, and it does this car incredibly well, and it just works so well. But again, I haven't driven enough cars. So with my low experience, I'll give you guys my thoughts anyway. 460 horsepower, like I said, it's a bit hard to give it all throttle. I'm just used to every single car I've driven there's always a good opportunity. You could give it full throttle and you're good. This one will scare me. It scares me a bit much. I mean, again, I'll put it in track. I mean, the only time you can really give it full throttle, at least what I've done, is in some kind of touring or weather mode, because I mean, that's when it limits you. But when it's in track, oh my gosh, it is so hard to find a spot where you can just give it wide open throttle. On these acceleration runs that I've just done in these couple of videos, I'm like maybe a bit over half throttle, but really not close to, not far from full throttle. And you don't need to be on full throttle to really excite you, at least not me, and to hear the sound. That's about quarter throttle. It's giving me enough power to really scare myself through some of these bends, but not too scared. You know, it's just nice and comfortable along bends, very predictable. But just with that quarter throttle, you really start going in and out of all these bends, hearing a beautiful exhaust note behind you, because again, the exhaust valves are so unrestricted in track mode. Man, this car really is the best of both worlds. It is so daily drivable. You could drive it to work, you could drive it to the grocery store, and you could drive it just to drive it. It is the perfect point A to A. It's the perfect point A to B. You could be stuck in traffic in this car, and it's better than being stuck in traffic in anything else, just because you're stuck with the Corvette. This car just makes any commute, any drive just so much more exciting, a little bit more dramatic. GM did this one so right. I don't know what in the world they have in store for a C8, even though I'm looking way far ahead now. I don't know what they're gonna do with the ZR1 if that does go through. How are they really gonna make it better than the C7 Z06? And how is the Z06 so much better than this? I don't know how GM's pulling all this stuff off, but hats off to them. They are really, really making some great stuff. Finally, it's about time. So, unbelievable car. I just can't say enough about it.